Donald Trump couldn't pass a high school macroeconomics quiz with cliff notes and a cheat sheet. Economic professors, high school teachers, this is just wrong. This is absurd. And you cannot possibly let your students go home thinking this because you would fail them. But here is the President of the United States making a mockery of the United States.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
That means we lose less money. You know, when I see that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to $1 trillion or $1 trillion. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that.
Folks, did you hear what this man just said? He said, when I see trade slowing down, that means we lose less money.
That means we lose less money. You know, when I see that means we lose less money. Look,
the President of the United States, you all have to forgive me. I'm going to crash out because I majored in economics and this is just kind of a little triggering. There are lies, there are damned lies, and then there's this, the kind of ignorance that would make an economics professor at a rural community college bang his head into the chalkboard because it's so ignorant. This isn't just wrong. It's economic malpractice, and it's morally grotesque because of who it's going to hurt. Literally everyone that he's supposed to serve. For Donald Trump to say that we lose less money when our ports are quiet, it's like saying, thank God the hospital is empty, fewer patients, less cost. The ignorance. No, genius, that's not savings, that's a crisis. That's not thrifting, that's a national disaster. When a port slows down, it's not just some accounting trick. It's not patriotism. It's not a scoreboard. It's men and women getting sent home early from the docks. It's truckers losing their routes. It's warehouse lights being turned off. It's mothers in Memphis who can't find diapers and mechanics in Ohio who have to wait 6 weeks for brake pads. And yet, here's President Trump, the man entrusted with the world's largest economy, standing there like a game show host in a red tie and grins. This is a good thing. Good for who, Trump? Certainly not for the longshoreman, not for the single mom pushing an empty stroller past an empty shelf, not for you, MAGA, who's about to pay $7.50 for bread and wait 3 weeks for it. Here's what any student in an economics 101 course learns. Trade isn't loss, it's exchange. You don't win trade by not participating anymore than you win at poker by leaving the table before the hand is dealt. Donald Trump couldn't pass a high school macroeconomics quiz with cliff notes and a cheat sheet. But he's handed a microphone and millions of people listen as if he's Moses coming down from the mountain. Let's break this down with a really simple infographic that even MAGA can understand. Here's what really happens when things slow down at the port. That thing Donald Trump said is a good thing. At the ports, dock workers and crane operators get their shifts cut. Layoffs increase, and some towns get into a spiral of economic depression. It's a matter of fact. In transport, independent truckers and fuel stop workers miss mortgage payments. Trucks get repossessed. Small fleets fold, going out of business. In warehousing, temporary workers, single parents, and immigrant laborers have hours cut, and food bank lines grow longer. In retail, small shop owners and store clerks face empty shelves, lost customers, and the stores shut down. At home, families, the elderly, and disabled Americans experience inflation, rationing, and despair. This is not a strategy. It's a slow national collapse being sold to you as tough love through a level of ignorance that I have never seen in my lifetime. I mean, this is just dumb. And here's the most twisted part. The people hurt most by this economic idiocy are the ones clapping the loudest. You're messed around and you're finding out, MAGA. You're being taught to cheer for your own poverty, to wave flags at your own bankruptcy, all led by a president who doesn't know the very basics of economics. It's so absurd. Trump's claim is not just wrong, y'all. It's an anti-fact. A reverse truth so complete it practically spins the earth in the opposite direction if they believe the earth was round to begin with. It's the economic equivalent of saying we're healthier because the ambulance stopped running. He gets away with it because he doesn't speak to reason. He speaks to resentment. He doesn't speak to understanding. He speaks to outrage. And the price of that is what we all are going to pay at the grocery store, at the pharmacy, at gas stations, and ultimately in the unemployment line. And one day at your dinner table, when you have to explain to your kid why the store was out of food, you have to admit that this isn't policy. This was performance by your president that you voted for. This isn't leadership. It's liability. It's not a plan. It's a prank played on people who deserve better, America. And the only antidote to this circus is truth. Speak up. The economic professors, high school teachers, this is just wrong. This is absurd. And you cannot possibly let your students go home thinking this because you would fail them. But here is the president of the United States making a mockery of the United States. So precisely, by the way, that I have to conclude that's the entire point. The entire point is to destroy the American economy. And we must ask ourselves who benefits from that. Well, I think you already know the answer to that. It's not our allies that benefit from it, but it is our enemies. And so what we must do is to mock this moron, name the absurdity, to reject the ridiculousness, and to tell the truth like your paycheck depends on it, because it does.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the U.S., the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
That means we lose less money. You know, when I see that, that means we lose less money. Look, China was making over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to a trillion or a trillion one. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can